Hello, this is Irani. Today let us study about Standard 10 Biology, Plant Physiology, Absorption by Roots, Lesson 4, Unit 3. Is a continuation of Absorption by Roots. So we'll start with active and passive transport. Last class we read about osmosis, osmotic pressure. Now we'll read how the active and passive transport takes place in the roots. What is active transport? It is a passage of substance from its lower to higher concentration to a living cell membrane using energy of the cell. It is opposite to that of diffusion. So here you can see this is a diffusion where energy is used in the form of ATP. Passive transport is different from diffusion. It requires no input of energy. It is a free movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. This is an overview of passive and active transport. There is cell transport where there are two types, passive and active. The molecules enter or leave one at a time. Here many molecules enter or leave together. That is a bulk transport. What are passive transport? Diffusion comes under that. Osmosis, facilitated diffusion. No cell energy is needed. The molecules move with the concentration gradient, that is from high to low, due to random molecular motion. And active transport, they are the carrier proteins, endocytosis, exocytosis. Here cell energy is required or needed in the form of ATP. The molecules move against the concentration gradient, that is from low to high. Next, let us study about plasmolysis and deplasmolysis. These are the phenomenons. Now, plasmolysis, when a plant cell is put in a hypertonic solution, that means higher solution, water will leave the cell by osmosis. The protoplasm inside the cell will shrink and the cell membrane will be pulled away from the cell wall. As a result, what will happen? The cell becomes flaccid and the protoplasm doesn't exert pressure on the cell wall. Then the cell is said to be plasmolysed. What is deplasmolysis? When this pure water or hypotonic solution is added to the same plasmolysed cell, the cell gains water by endosmosis and the cell membrane, cytoplasm, comes back to the original position, and that phenomenon is called as deplasmolysis. This is a diagram of plasmolysed cell. This is a normal cell. When put in a hypertonic solution or higher external solution, the contraction of the cytoplasm takes place. Here you can see the vacuole. The outer layer of the vacuole is called as the tonoplast, the nucleus, and the cell gets shrunk, which is called as a plasmolysed cell. Here also there is cell. You can see it's plasmolysed cell. This is a phenomenon how the plasmolysis takes place. Next, that conditions, that is turgidity and flaccidity. Turgidity is when a cell reaches a state where it cannot accommodate any more water. It is called as turgid, and the condition is called as turgidity. Turgidity of a cell occurs due to turgor pressure. What is turgor pressure? The pressure of the cell contents on the cell wall is called turgor pressure, and the pressure exerted by the cell wall on the cell contents is called wall pressure. What is the important role of turgidity in plants? It helps in maintaining the shape and form of the plant. It holds the leaves in flat and horizontal position. It keeps cell enlargement and stretching of the cells and helps in opening and closing of the stomata. Now this is a plant cell which shows the three pressures: osmotic pressure, turgor pressure, and wall pressure. So this is a common plant cell having a cell wall and a plasma membrane. The vacuolar sap. Now this is the osmotic pressure. The water moves into the cell due to the osmotic concentration, which is called as osmotic pressure. The wall pressure, the pressure created on the cell contents, and turgor pressure, the pressure created on the wall. And this is a diagram of the plant cell showing osmotic pressure, turgor pressure, and wall pressure represented together in one diagram. The next condition is flaccidity. It is reverse of turgidity. It is a condition in which the cell contents are shrunk and the cell is no more tight. When the plant loses water due to flaccidity, we call that as wilting. Wilting is generally temporary, where large amount of water is lost and the cell wall, the protoplasm, shrinks, and that condition is called as wilting. Now this is a diagram of a normal cell where the cell is in the same concentration, that is isotonic. This is a diagram of a turgid cell. When put in a dilute solution, it becomes flaccid when we put in a higher concentration or more concentration. This is a diagram of a plasmolyzed cell where the plasmolysis has taken place and the cytoplasm is shrunk, where the cytoplasm is pulled away from the cell wall. Next, let us learn what is root pressure. It's a pressure developed in the roots due to the continued inward movement of the water through cell to cell osmosis, which helps in the ascent of sap. Guttation, the loss of excessive water from the ends of the leaf veins or from the margins of the leaves in the form of water droplets through special structures called as hydathodes. Now here we can demonstrate root pressure using a manometer. So if we take a well watered potted plant, that is a balsam plant, and fix a glass tubing to it by means of a rubber tube, and this is connected to a manometer, water will start coming out of the cut end of the stem. Here the stem is cut, one end of the tube is joined to the cut stem and the other to the manometer. The rising water can raise the mercury filled in the connected manometer. This upward flow of water is due to the heavy pressure from the roots, which is called as root pressure. Now here a pressure is created and you can see the mercury level is rising up, and the pressure is due to the roots exerted, called as root pressure, and pushes the mercury level upwards, which shows that root pressure takes place during absorption of water. The absorption of water by root hairs, from root hairs to root cortex to the xylem. What's the pathway? Due to the presence of sugar, the concentration of solute in the cell sap of root hair is greater than that of the surrounding water. The cell sap has lower water potential and hence water is taken in from the soil. Water can flow in three possible pathways to reach the root cortex and then to the xylem vessel. What are the three pathways? Apoplast pathway, symplast and vacuolar pathway. In the cortex or in the root cortex, the apoplast movement of water occurs and the water reaches the endodermis. In the endodermis, we get strips of cells present called as Casparian strips, which are made up of a waxy layer called as suberin, which forms a band, and they prevent the backflow of water and help in movement of the water into the endodermis. Beyond endodermis till xylem, the water and the solute passes through the cell membrane and through the tonoplast and reaches the root xylem, where it moves upwards towards the stem and the leaves by transpiration pull. Now this is a pathway, the diagram. You can see here the Casparian strips which prevents the backflow of water. The pathway, this is symplastic pathway, apoblastic pathway, the cortical cells, the endodermis, the cells surrounding the vascular bundles are called as the pericycle, the xylem and the phloem, where the water enters from the root hairs into the xylem vessels. Now what are the forces contributing the ascent of sap? There are four forces. One is root pressure, capillarity, transpiration pull and adhesion. Now what is root pressure? It builds a sufficient force to push the sap in the xylem vessel up to a certain height. Capillarity is a narrow diameter of xylem vessel which causes the water from the lower level to rise and fill up the vacuum. Transpiration pull, as the water is lost from the leaf by transpiration, more molecules are pulled up due to tendency of water molecules, which is called as cohesion. Addition, it causes the water to stick to the surface of the cells, thus drawing more water molecules from below the leaf cells, where the leaf loses due to transpiration. We have read till the forces. In the next video, we will read about the experiments in absorption by water, absorption of water by the roots. Thank you.